Good morning, just after 6, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin, local news coming up next.
Bustin' Sags, this is the week. We'll talk more about that. Violence in downtown Shreveport, 1 dead, 2 are wounded. We'll have an update on that, too. And the death penalty, is it something that needs to go away?
710 is Allendale strong, right? When we will attempt to get the record set straight, because it seems Allendale strong, the anti-I-49 bunch, is saying one thing, and the mayor's office is saying something else entirely. I do understand that correctly.
Yes.
Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather. We'll tell. What?
Also, the head of the chamber's coming in the 7 o'clock hour. He's going to talk about the intercity connector.
I thought that was tomorrow morning.
No.
It's going to be an interesting day. Matt's got to pull his pants up. Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather. It's all coming up this hour here on KEEL.
KEEL Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1 dead, 2 wounded in a shooting in downtown Shreveport happened outside the Royalty Cigar Lounge on Texas Street just before 10:30. Still searching for suspects. Another shooting overnight happened on Lafourche Circle about 1:30 this morning. 2 women shot inside a home. Both are expected to be okay. Sagging pants to take center stage at this week's council meeting. We get more from Matt Parker.
An ordinance to repeal Shreveport's sagging pants law will be a hot topic at this week's city council meetings. Councilwoman Livette Fuller is pushing the repeal, saying that government shouldn't tell people how they should dress. Many for keeping the law on the books say that it helps create a standard for the city. The topic is expected to be a major part of today's work session before going up for a final vote tomorrow. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Crews working feverishly to repair a sewage breach near the intersection of Flournoy Lucas and Highway 1. Waste from the leak was flowing into the Sand Beach Bayou. Officials say the pipe was old and couldn't handle the pressure it was under. All area lift stations are shut down while crews replace the busted pipe. It's believed the sewage leak has been going on for several weeks. Single-car wreck leaves a man dead. According to Caddo deputies, Calvin Baker died as a result of the crash on I-220 near Lakeshore Drive. A proposal to abolish the death penalty failed to pass this year in Baton Rouge, but proponents are more optimistic about its chances going forward, citing the progress it made this year. New Iberia Representative Terry Landry says his bill got further this year than ever before, proof that legislative opinion may be shifting.
I think we got a lot of traction. For the first time in 3 years, we were able to get it out of the committee and get it on the floor. And what we accomplished, and my expectations initially were just to start the conversation.
Louisiana has not carried out an execution since 2010. What's next on the proposed Cross Bayou plan? Signed contracts with government entities. That's the message from Larry English with GDC. The group will need help for infrastructure from the city and the parish.
So I would ask the city to be a little bit patient to so that we can understand, and the final numbers on what this project is, they're yet to be negotiated with the city, the parish.
The project has grown from $1 billion to $1.5 billion and now includes a judicial component in the form of a new parish courthouse. Crane collapse in Dallas kills 1, several others hurt. A series of thunderstorms caused a crane to fall into an apartment complex in downtown Dallas. The accident left 1 person dead. At least 7 others were hurt. According to the National Weather Service, winds reached upwards of 80 miles an hour, causing severe damage around the city. Gas prices down 9 cents over the past 3 weeks. The average price of a gallon of regular is now $2.84. Trilby Lundberg talks about the prices in different cities.
The high in the panel of cities was San Francisco, 394. The low was Baton Rouge at 227.
Lundberg says most of the drop came from lower crude oil prices, but weak demand partly stemming from recent flooding in the U.S. and partly from a less than robust May jobs report. Kroger recalling frozen berries because of possible hepatitis A contamination. It's the private selection varieties. A man gets so upset with his wife's Alexa device that he shoots it, but this Florida story didn't end there. The man ends up in a shootout with police, wounding 2 officers. He himself was also shot. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.107 FM 710 KEEL, Monday morning traffic. Here's Ruben.
So far, it looks like roadways are clear in the Shreveport-Bossier City area. No major accidents to report right now, but that could change at any moment. If you see something, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
.107 FM 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app, a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. I'm looking over there in the window, on the windowsill.
Nice, isn't it?
Where you have there's all these proclamations
Yeah.
and awards.
Are you a little jelly over there?
And they're all yours. Only thing I've got over there is a can of Lysol. Okay.
We can get you some.
So Friday morning, late in the show, we were joined in studio by Mr. Larry English, who was sort of the front man for Gateway Development Consortium. That's the Cross Bayou deal. And I guess now it's $1.5 billion. We got a text over the weekend that said now they want to include a Civil War and Civil Rights Museum. Did I see that correctly?
Yes.
Holy cow.
They're adding stuff to it as it goes.
Well, that was sort of where we started, because if you're going to add stuff, it's no wonder the price is going up. It was 10 years, $1 billion. Now it's even longer than 10 years, and it's $1.5 billion. And that's kind of where we started with Mr. Larry, $1.5 billion.
The size of the scope of the project has changed. We originally were looking at 60 acres. It's now up to 80 acres, and we have included a tract there on the Red River, about 11 acres. So the site, the size of the project and the site has grown.
What's underwater down there now? Y'all, I'm sure you're going down there to check it all out, right?
Well, let's talk about that for a second. You know, in when they founded the city a couple of hundred years ago, they didn't have flood control. And I'm pretty sure when Captain Shreve decided to locate the city, he went to high ground. So if you really go down there now, 95% of Cross Bayou is above water, okay? But man has been living on rivers for a millennium now. We know how to build on rivers and that to prevent flooding. So our technical people, our civil engineers, that's of all the issues we're dealing with,
Not a
that's
problem?
the least one. That one has never come up in the meeting.
Okay.
A local blogger has put on his website, it's a rumor going around, well, I guess since it's in print, it's more than a rumor, that the Caddo Commission is considering giving you guys $48 million.
All right, so let's talk about
what do you know about that? You've had talks with them previously, specifically Commission President Stormy Gage Watts. What have those conversations been about? What can you tell me about $48 million?
So let's talk about the $48 million. And because of the size of the site, Excuse
me just a second before you get rolling, and I don't mean to slow you down. When you say let's talk about the $48 million, what I infer from that is that the $48 million is something that has been discussed.
No, I mean, yes, it's been discussed. It's been
that specific number.
Yes, but that number has been out there. We put that number out as infrastructure, and if you just give me a quick second, because I know you're brief, is that number is going to probably get a little bit larger because the size of the project is there. But let's talk about where that money is coming from. Part of the money is to assemble the land. The mayor is already assembling the land because the taxpayers have already passed a bond issue to assemble the land. So take that money off the table. Part of the money of that $48 million is to build a hard banking of Red River Waterway. The Red River Waterway Commission is already collecting your taxes. They're sitting on the last audit. I think they're sitting on about $60 million. They have money set aside to be able to hard bank the project, cleaning up the land. State and federal government has dollars to clean up the land. They won't give it to a private developer. They will give it to the city. So there's state and federal dollars, Superfund money already set out there to clean up the land. So when you start talking about that number, much of those funds are already there, and the taxpayers have already.
Not arguing with you that the money exists.
Yeah.
What I want to know is that how close are you, and is how far along are those discussions of $48 million?
Good. So, and I said this the last time I was here. You know, we've been working on this project for 14 months, and we haven't asked anybody for any money yet. This is a complex project, and I understand everybody's focused on the $48 million. We have a team of architects, engineers, construction people that are working 20, 30, 40 hours a week to try to figure this project out. So I know we want to reduce a $1.5 billion down to a sound bite or a simple, but the reality of it is this project is so complex. We have really in the last 60 days finalized the master plan, the site of it is. And so now our team now is able to deal down of it is and figure out what these numbers are. So I would ask the city to be a little bit patient, so that we can understand, and the final numbers on what this project is, they're yet to be negotiated with the city, the parish,
a judicial complex that you've included. That's one of the newer pieces to the puzzle.
Yes.
We have a judicial complex. Why would we choose to move a few blocks away and rent from you guys when we own where we are now? Big question people are asking.
Because you own a building that was built in 1927 that is ill-equipped to be a functioning criminal justice complex in the 21st century. So we talked to Mike Spence at the Clerk of Court. He says every time we want to add a computer, we've got to start knocking out walls. Buildings have a life cycle. So I'm assuming in 1927, there were a lot of citizens saying, why do we need to build this big skyscraper downtown on Texas Street? These buildings, both the state office building and the courthouse, they have outlived their usefulness in terms of their ability to be able to function in the 21st century. That is just the reality of it.
It still has debt on it, though, correct? Don't they still owe some money
no,
on it?
I don't think we have not seen any debt on it because they recently did an annex. When you think about the time, when you think about the loss in money and time that employees working in these buildings that are outdated, that they don't have the latest technology. You can't wire a 1927 building for AI, for all of the latest technology that's now driving commerce in this globe. So these buildings have outlived their usefulness. It doesn't mean that they can't be reconverted to something else, but the district attorney has offices all over town. Nobody that's working in those buildings, that know those buildings, are disputing that they have outlived their useful life. There comes a time you have to do something. You have to build a...
Why?
Okay.
The question, another big question that people bring up all the time is, and the point I've made is, it's a lot of new stuff and a lot of new shiny things downtown that you want to build across Bayou.
Okay.
But everything you want is already to some degree 600 yards away. It's called downtown. Why not take that money? Why not ask for that money and literally a massive downtown renovation? Because you can just gut everything. I mean, what's the difference between, in your mind and the financiers' minds, building new and renovating and gutting and renovating downtown?
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I do not believe that they're mutually exclusive.
Well, for this project, they are.
No, but I if you look at the design of the project, we have designed the project that it seamlessly integrates into downtown. The belief is, we believe it. I think the economic development people in the city believe it. We believe that if we are able to start Cross Bayou and begin building Cross Bayou, it will have a transformative impact the rest of downtown. We've got to inspire young entrepreneurs to buy buildings, to go downtown and start renovating those buildings. I have an airplane. I'm building an airplane to go off on this runway. It doesn't mean that it has to be the only airplane in town. I reject that we have to be the project that is the all-encompassing. That's not what we are. We want to build a project that we think we want to do Cross Bayou. We want to build a project that's going to interject economic development and turn and become a global brand. Let me just say before I get off the air, this project right now is being talked about all over the country, and we believe it will be talked about all over the world.
What's the next 3 items on we have got to do these and check them off?
We got to negotiate a binding agreement with the state, the parish, and the parish on this project. There comes a time you have to do a deal, and we're entering the piece of it is, well, we've got to go in the room and negotiate. You
said last time you were here, Shreveport needs to pony up at least $10 million. Anything?
Well, that's $10 million from private dollars. Anybody want to lend me $10 million? We're looking for, but that's $10 million out of the private
Erin's
sector.
got it in her trunk.
No.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports just ahead. Here's the traffic.
So far, it looks like roadways are clear in the Shreveport-Bossier City area. No major accidents to report right now, but that could change at any moment. If you see something, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. We're Trina Wettig at the Weather Channel.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports Update, Monday morning stuff. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU's baseball season ended in gut-wrenching fashion on a 2-out walk-off single in the bottom of the 12th inning and a 5-4 loss to Florida State in Game 2 of the Baton Rouge Super Regional. Devin Fontenot was spectacular in relief for the Tigers, but he surrendered the game-winning hit to Drew Mendoza with 2 outs to send Mike Salvatore home and the Seminoles to Omaha for the College World Series. Fontenot pitched 6 2/3 innings and fanned a career-best 11 to keep the Tigers in the game. Florida State jumped on starter Landon Marceau for 4 runs to take a 4-1 lead, but LSU chipped away before tying things up in the top of the 8th on Zach Watson's 1-out RBI single. Watson was thrown out at second on the play, taking away a potential runners on second and third with 1 out into a runner at third with 2 outs situation. The Tigers started the season as the preseason #1 team in America. They finished 40-26. Florida State's Mike Martin is retiring after 40 years as Florida State's head coach. He has never won a College World Series, but he gets one last chance. Arkansas was pummeled by Ole Miss in Game 2 of their Super Regional, forcing a winner-goes-to-Omaha matchup this afternoon in Fayetteville. The Astros beat the Orioles 4-0. The Rangers lost to Oakland 9-8. Former Minnesota Twin and Boston Red Sox slugger David Ortiz, with 541 career home runs and 3 World Series wins with the Red Sox, was shot in East Santo Domingo yesterday, suffering a gunshot wound to the lower back abdominal region. Ortiz was exiting a club when a gunman approached from a motorcycle, got off the motorcycle, walked up behind Ortiz, and shot him at point-blank range in the back. The suspect was captured and beaten by patrons outside the club. Boston denied St. Louis their first Stanley Cup title with a 5-1 win in Missouri to force Game 7 in Boston on Wednesday. From the Sports Desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. I guess allergies are back, huh? It's mold.
God.
Now it's mold, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad as, yeah. Well, and then there's all the little white stuff in the air.
You know what? I have a problem at my house right now? Those little gnats. Like if you leave bananas out and they get
Those are called fruit flies.
Whatever they are, but I don't have any bananas out. But there's nothing out.
But you still have them.
But I still. So what we did this weekend, and you can text us and tell me if there's a better solution. We put.
Did it kill the dog? It worked.
No, the dog is fine.
Okay.
Don't talk like that. We poured vinegar down the sinks. Somebody told me they may be coming up from the sink. Because I thought, I don't put food down the sink. There's no, I don't have garbage disposal. So where are they coming from? My kitchen is spotless. And I'm like, where are these stupid fruit fly thingies coming from?
I don't know.
And pretty soon they're going to be those attack ones that attack you on the golf course. I thought, I don't want these things
black
in the
fly
house.
gnats.
So hopefully when I get home today, they'll be gone. But if there's a better solution, the text line number, what is that number, Robert?
318.
Yeah, help me out.
392-1884.
Yeah, I need to get rid of these stupid fruit
So
flies.
an interesting guest list for the morning. Fill me in.
Yeah, we're going to have John Perkins in studio at 7:10.
He is like a pro. No, I apologize. He is an anti-inner city connector I-49 guy.
He's with the Allendale Strong Group,
Yeah.
and he presents some strong arguments from their side about why they don't want it to cut through their neighborhood.
Basically, what it comes down to is should a lot of people lose their houses just so you can cut 15 minutes off your commute?
Okay.
I mean, in a nutshell, that's the Allendale Strong argument.
Right.
Should lots and lots of people lose their homes to cut 15 minutes off your commute?
It's 40 homes is what would have to be moved.
Yeah.
That's the number.
How's about so they figured out a way to completely circumvent the big apartment complex just to the left of I-49 where it ends now.
I believe so. I believe the route would go around that. I'm not sure. Then at 7:40 this morning, we're going to be joined by Tim Magner, who's the head of the Shreveport Chamber of Commerce.
He's a big build the inner city connector
and
49
he supports the inner city connector. And so big debate on both sides.
Now, the total cost for this estimated would be like about
$500 million.
Okay, but the state of Louisiana would have to pitch in $100 million, like 20%, right?
Which is what we just got.
And we just got $100 million from the Deepwater Horizon settlement. At
Because
least
the feds won't send you the money unless you have the match. And now we have the match.
Yeah. So you seem to think it's a done deal. You seem to think
Well, there's a problem with that. If you ask our senators, they'll say the feds don't have any money for new projects right now either. So, and we still have to finish the environmental and all that good stuff.
And according to Allendale Strong, what did they say? Our long local nightmare is over. In their minds, it's a done deal. It will never be built, and yet, what they say on their social media page is completely contradicted by what the mayor says he says. In other words, what they say, the mayor and Sean Wilson told them is that unfair? Contradicted by the mayor's office itself?
Completely. Yeah, there's a big feud about what the mayor told them.
Hang on a couple of seconds. We will cover that for you. And Saggy Pants work session, blah, blah, blah. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Local news next. Here's Ruben.
So far, it looks like roadways are clear in the Shreveport-Bossier City area. No major accidents to report right now, but that could change at any moment. If you see something, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWetta, Get the Weather Channel.
Information. KEEL News now.
1 dead, 2 wounded in a shooting in downtown Shreveport happened outside the Royalty Cigar Lounge on Texas Street just before 10:30. Still searching for suspects. Another shooting overnight happened on Lafourche Circle about 1:30 this morning. 2 women shot inside a home. Both are expected to be okay. Single car wreck leaves a man dead. Caddo Sheriff's Office says Calvin Baker died as a result of a crash on I-220 near Lakeshore Drive. Sagging pants to take center stage this week. An ordinance to repeal Shreveport's sagging pants law will be a hot topic at the council meeting work session this afternoon. The meeting and a final vote is expected tomorrow. Major sewer breach in southeast Shreveport. We get details from Matt Parker.
Crews are working feverishly to repair a sewage breach near the intersection of Flournoy Lucas and Highway 1. Waste from the leak was flowing into the Sand Beach Bayou. Officials say the pipe was old and couldn't handle the pressure it was under. All area lift stations are shut down while crews replace the busted line. It's believed the sewage leak has been going on for several weeks. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
One woman dead, several others hurt in Texas following the collapse of a construction crane. Rescue officials in Dallas say strong winds from a severe storm blew the crane into a building in downtown Dallas. More from Allison Harris.
The scene was chaotic, people being taken into ambulances, taken to the hospital, and then other people getting their pets, bringing them out onto the street. We saw a lot of people with one suitcase. They were taking their belongings, anything that they could get, putting it into a suitcase and evacuating. They're not sure if and when, if at all possible, they'll be able to go back into their apartments. There's insulation in the streets here. Some of the debris from the building that fell out as the building was collapsing.
The storm also caused power outages throughout North Texas. Governor Edwards signs legislation that increases the maximum foster care age from 18 to 21. The Department of Children and Family Services says by expanding the program, it will help many foster care teenagers transition into adulthood. DCFS Secretary Marquetta Garner-Walters says for those that elect to stay in foster care, they can receive various forms of state aid.
We can help them with tuition. We can help them with room and board. We can help them sign leases. We can help them get cars. We can offer so much support.
Previously, the law ended support at age 18. There's another food recall. This time it's frozen berries. Fox's Anna Carrick with the details.
Several grocery chains are recalling frozen berries due to hepatitis A contamination concerns. Kroger, Ralph's, Fry's, Fred Meyer, and others are recalling private selection fruit, including frozen triple berry medley in both 16 and 48-ounce sizes. Frozen blackberries in the 16-ounce size also are included in the recall. Hepatitis A is a contagious liver disease and may cause fatigue, stomach pain, and jaundice. It can last a few weeks or several months, and in rare cases can cause liver failure.
No illnesses have been reported. The FDA discovered the contamination. Former Boston Red Sox player David Ortiz shot in the back in the Dominican Republic. He is expected to make a full recovery. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Okay. Work session today for City Council.
Mm-hmm.
Will there be a vote tomorrow on the repeal of the saggy pants ordinance?
Yep. Saggy britches ban expected
Can we do
to
a
go
head
away.
count? Can we do a head count? What do you think? Do you have any idea? Well, Fuller,
I
it's
think
Levette Fuller,
it's 6
obviously.
to 1.
Fuller is a yes. It's her legislation.
Yeah.
Let's go from there.
I think it's everybody but Fleury
Yeah?
is going to vote to repeal the ban.
Because he's talked to a poliishman?
I don't know. When we had Levette in,
I mean,
while
how do you
were
think,
gone,
in
she
all
said,
honesty now?
She said that he was getting a lot of pushback from his constituents.
If you could get Let's inject the police force with sodium pentothal. And let's get them on truth serum. What do you think their feelings about this is? Do you think that the Shreveport police en masse, do you think that the Shreveport police think this is an ordinance that has outlived its usefulness?
No, I think if you were to really get police officers to say if this has helped them, they would say yes. This has helped them approach people that they suspected of other crimes, and this gives them a reason to approach those people. Could they find another reason to approach those people? I think the answer is yes.
And yet, to this moment, you still will not admit to me that the original intent of that ordinance was to do exactly what you said that it does.
I hope not.
Why? Why?
I hope we didn't intentionally target young African-American men.
No, bad guys.
Well, it intentionally targeted African-American men. And what Lavette Fuller said was...
So what you're telling...
Let me finish.
Okay.
This was interesting. She said, in these cases, the 700 citations that were issued, there were some that were charged with other crimes, but there were some that were not. And what we ended up doing, we put those people on a path to criminal backgrounds because they didn't pay the $100 fine. Therefore, a warrant's been issued for their arrest. Now, and then when they're arrested, they don't have the money to get out of jail.
So what you're telling me is that City Councilman Calvin Lester and Mayor Cedric Glover set a young black man on a path to crime. It's the saggy pants to prison pipeline.
That's one of the claims.
And initiated by African Americans in government.
That's one of the claims.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. They will discuss today, as will we. Traffic update now. Here's somebody.
Shreveport police got a couple of units on the scene. A minor accident North Market at I-220. Outside of that, smooth sailing this morning. If you spot anything that we need to know about, make sure you call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. We're treated wet again, the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, so John Perkins from Allendale Strong will be joining us just after 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. He's very passionate.
Passion and a dime will get you, well, it won't get you a cup of coffee anymore.
No,
the point being,
$3.
You said something a couple of seconds ago that I find very intriguing. You said, well, we've got the $100 million, and that's Louisiana's share of the $500 million that the feds, the Department of Transportation, says we have to go ahead with the intercity connector, as though it's a done deal, as though they're going to just start breaking ground any day now. And I got news for you. They've been fighting this fight for 20 years.
I know.
I just don't see that it's ever going to happen, that the real will is not there. Who's going
And do you know, Larry English said something to me Friday when he was in here, because we got talking about, is the intercity connector important to the Cross Bayou project, if you believe that ever happens or not. He said the fight for the Allendale people was 20 years ago. They've lost. They need to move on because we've already built the road beyond I-20. You know where it dumps out? Right there at Pete Harris. He said we've spent millions already on that portion right there. If you don't build the rest of it, then you just flush that money down the toilet.
So when John Perkins comes in here this morning at 7:10, sits down in that chair, I want you to say to him, Mr. Perkins, don't you realize you've lost? Larry English says you've lost.
The fight's been over.
So
My whole point to them is that, and this hit me over the weekend just right upside the head like with a 2x4. Somebody went, bam!
Let's start with this, and then I want you to make your point.
Okay.
If Erin McCarty had the button, the single button on her desk, push the button, I-49 intercity connector is built. They break ground tomorrow, and they knock that baby out in a couple or 3 or 4 years. Would you push the button?
Oh, absolutely. It will be the biggest single mistake our community has let happen in the last 100 years if we don't finish that freeway. It will be a huge mistake. And what hit me was, and I sympathize with the Allendale folks. I really do. I get that. If it was my neighborhood, I'd be up screaming and hollering too. But if you think about this one silly thing, I haven't been through Allendale in 15 years. No reason to go through. Don't ever go through that neighborhood. When I-49 is built, I will go through Allendale over and over and over again.
At a height of about 150 feet.
Maybe. They may put it down on the ground. We don't know the decision yet. What is better for Allendale? That you and me come through it every now and then? Or that you and me never, ever go through Allendale?
When Mr. Perkins comes in here and sits down at 7:10, first thing I want you to say to him is, what the hell, John? The fight's over. You lost 20 years ago.
You lost 20 years ago. Stop.
Why don't you realize that? The intriguing...
And your population's gone down from 17,000 to 4,000.
The interesting thing to me, at your end of the gopher-shaped broadcast table, who has repeatedly regaled against, who has argued against and made the point saggy pants should go because it targets African Americans. Well, so does the I-49 intercity connector. Where's your sympathy there?
No, I said I have sympathy for them. But I also want you to go back to 50 years ago, however long ago I-20 was built. It went through a neighborhood right there as well. And those folks were relocated, not very close by. They were relocated to the Cooper Road area, which has created a community, a neighborhood. The MLK neighborhood has flourished.
So
people will say that it's got a lot of needs.
What's the gap? What's the conflict in statements between what the Allendale Strong people are saying and what seems to be coming out of the mayor's office and or Sean Wilson at DOTD?
Well, they say that the mayor told them during an April meeting that Sean Wilson, the secretary of DOTD, Sean Wilson told Adrian Perkins, there's no money, it will never be built.
And the Allendale Strong people contend that the mayor told that to them.
Yes, to 40 of them.
In other words, Mr. Adrian said, hey, Allendale Strong folks, here's what the head of the DOTD told me.
It's never going to be built.
You only got nothing to worry about anymore.
So y'all's fight's over. The mayor says that's not quite what he told them.
How long will it take you to dig up the official mayoral Adrian Perkins, direct from City Hall, or specifically Ben Riggs, his communications guy,
long. Here it is.
email? Okay, so
in April.
Okay, you sent an email to the mayor's office. What did it say?
I can't see my email, but I asked for what was told by the mayor to the people in Allendale Strong. Did he tell them that DOTD Secretary Sean Wilson made that statement?
Okay.
And I asked for his statement and his position.
And the mayor's response was?
In April, Mayor Perkins met with Allendale community members and told them the I-49 intercity connector was not currently funded. This month, the state legislature allocated $100 million for the inner city connector. There are a couple of options available, and these routes need to be carefully considered, which means there needs to be more discussion and community engagement. We've had enough engagement. We've had enough discussion already. Let's go.
John Perkins, Allendale Strong, the man who doesn't, according to Erin, does not understand that the fight is over. Pack up your tent, son. You've done lost. Erin will explain that to you when you get here. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Shreveport police got a couple of units on the scene. A minor accident North Market at I-220. Outside of that, smooth sailing this morning. If you spot anything that we need to know about, make sure you call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWetta, Get the Weather Channel.
.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports Update. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU's baseball season ended in gut-wrenching fashion on a two-out walk-off single in the bottom of the 12th inning and a 5-4 loss to Florida State in Game 2 of the Baton Rouge Super Regional. Devin Fontenot was spectacular in relief for the Tigers, but he surrendered the game-winning hit to Drew Mendoza with 2 outs to send Mike Salvatore home and the Seminoles to Omaha for the College World Series. Fontenot pitched 6 2/3 innings and fanned a career-best 11 to keep the Tigers in the game. Florida State jumped on starter Landon Marceau for 4 runs to take a 4-1 lead, but LSU chipped away before tying things up in the top of the 8th on Zach Watson's 1-out RBI single. Watson was thrown out at second on the play, taking away a potential runners on second and third with 1 out into a runner at third with 2 out situation. The Tigers started the season as the preseason #1 team in America. They finished 40-26. Florida State's Mike Martin is retiring after 40 years as Florida State's head coach. He has never won a College World Series, but he gets one last chance. Arkansas was pummeled by Ole Miss in Game 2 of their Super Regional, forcing a winner-goes-to-Omaha matchup this afternoon in Fayetteville. The Astros beat the Orioles 4-0. The Rangers lost to Oakland 9-8. Former Minnesota Twin and Boston Red Sox slugger David Ortiz, with 541 career home runs and 3 World Series wins with the Red Sox, was shot in East Santo Domingo yesterday, suffering a gunshot wound to the lower back abdominal region. Ortiz was exiting a club when a gunman approached from a motorcycle, got off the motorcycle, walked up behind Ortiz and shot him at point-blank range in the back. The suspect was captured and beaten by patrons outside the club. Boston denied St. Louis their first Stanley Cup title with a 5-1 win in Missouri to force Game 7 in Boston on Wednesday. From the Sports Desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.117 FM 710 Keel. No, Sean Connery to you is sexy.
Yeah.
That weird
You got a
wool
point.
sort of fur
Yeah.
hat that he wore in Red October is not. I just know a bunch of people that have been on those Russian cruises, those Alaskan cruises, and they all come back with the big fur. What are they called? Not.
I don't know what they mukluk. I don't know.
See, that's what I was thinking of. But that's when you call me when you get mad at me.
I yelled at a homeless guy this weekend, and I'm feeling so bad about it.
Let me ask you this, because you put on your Facebook page. We'll cover this after 7 o'clock. I promise. You had put on your Facebook page. You sort of related the story, and you said, I was mean to a homeless person. Let me ask you, when that person stepped into your area and you felt a little threatened, were you mean or were you stern?
I was stern.
There's a difference. We'll
Yeah.
cover after 7 o'clock. John Perkins, Allendale Strong. He's lost, according to Erin. He's Davy at the Alamo. He just doesn't know it yet.
He's bowing up. He's
on the
coming
way
back.
just after 7 o'clock. Right now, Rush on Keel.
The drive-by media has been even more unhinged since President Trump announced tariffs on goods from Mexico if Mexico didn't help secure the border. The New York Times listed which states will be hardest hit. They say Texas, Michigan, and California will be the big losers. The Washington Post says that trade wars with China and Mexico will stunt growth and cost American jobs, as if illegal immigration isn't doing that already. USA Today warns readers that they will pay more for cars if the tariffs go into effect. Now, none of these drive-bys cared about the American citizens who've been hardest hit for decades by illegal immigrants pouring over the border and by the Chi-Coms robbing us blind with unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. None of the drive-bys pointed fingers at the elites in both parties whose agenda to bring in cheap labor, cheap consumer goods, and new voters created this crisis in the first place. President Trump is keeping his campaign promise to do everything in his power to fix this mess. They don't like it, and they don't like him. But that, thankfully, is not stopping him. And now Mexico, with the threat of tariffs hanging over them today, is beginning to feel the heat and act accordingly. Hey, folks, this is big. This month marks 25 years in America for my good friends at Mahindra. That's 25 years helping landowners care for their land, and Mahindra wants to celebrate this milestone. You'll get an extra $1,000 off a rugged Mahindra tractor for purchases of select models now through June 30th, 2019. There's more for your money. What more could you ask for? Not only has Mahindra created thousands of American jobs, but they have helped Mahindra owners live the American dream of enjoying and working the land they love. Learn more about Mahindra's 25 years in America at MahindraUSA.com and visit a Mahindra dealer to join in the celebration.
Take advantage of rock-bottom prices and test drive a Mahindra today at Kelly Tractor and Equipment in Longview, or visit kellytractor.net. That's kellytractor.net.
Shreveport police got a couple of units on the scene. A minor accident North Market at I-220. Outside of that, smooth sailing this morning. If you spot anything that we need to know about, make sure you call the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. KEEL, 710 AM and K269GO, 1017 FM, Shreveport.
Good morning, just after 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL, down yonder. Erin's got local news in just a couple of seconds. What's up, kid?
More violence, the latest in downtown Shreveport. One person is dead. We'll talk more about that. A sewage breach in southeast Shreveport, that's coming up too. And we'll also be talking about legislation impacting our children.
Mr. John Perkins, Allendale Strong, joins us in just about 10 minutes.
He's got his cape on.
So what did the mayor tell them that doesn't necessarily jibe with what the mayor told us. And what is, to what lengths will they go to keep the inner city connector from being built? And to use Erin's words, has he already lost the fight and they just don't know it yet?
Yeah.
You said it, not me. Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather. It's coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
The KEEL Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
An ordinance to repeal Shreveport's sagging pants law will be a hot topic at this week's council meetings. Councilwoman Livette Fuller pushing the repeal, saying government shouldn't tell people how they should dress. 1 dead, 2 wounded in a shooting in downtown Shreveport happened outside the Royalty Cigar Lounge on Texas Street just before 10:30, still searching for suspects. Another shooting overnight happened on Lafourche Circle about 1:30 this morning. 2 women shot inside a home. Both are expected to be okay. Several new laws affecting teachers, parents, and students about to go into effect. One increases the amount of training school officials must receive related to youth suicide prevention. Crane collapse in Dallas kills 1, leaving several others hurt. Matt Parker with that.
According to reports, a series of severe thunderstorms caused a crane to fall into an apartment complex in downtown Dallas. The accident left 1 person dead and at least 7 others seriously hurt. According to the National Weather Service, winds reached upwards of 80 miles an hour, causing severe damage around the city. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Legislation barring children under the age of 16 from getting married awaits the governor's signature after a last-second push got it over the finish line. New Orleans Representative Stephanie Hiverty says the legislation is designed to push back against human trafficking that's often facilitated when older men marry young girls.
Prior to this bill passing, we had no minimum age for marriage, which puts us one as an outlier in the country and among our southern peer states.
Kids ages 16 and 17 will need judicial approval and parental consent before getting married. Gas prices down over the past 3 weeks.
Gasoline prices are dropping, and they're dropping faster in these days than they had been. The price is $2.84 nationally for regular. It dropped 9 cents over 3 weeks and a total of 13 cents over 5 weeks when it peaked early May. And we probably will see some more price cutting very soon.
The city with the highest price during the survey period, San Francisco, $3.94. The lowest on average is Baton Rouge, $2.27. Locally, we've found gas in the $2.12 range at several spots. LSU baseball season finished with a heartbreaking 5-4 loss to Florida State in 12 innings. The Seminoles' star third baseman Drew Mendoza singled home the winning run. Tigers coach Paul Maneri could have walked Mendoza, but decided to go after the Seminoles veteran number 3 hitter.
Mendoza had 69 strikeouts. I thought the next hitter, Martin, was more of a contact hitter, and I thought we could throw the fastball by Mendoza, and we did a couple of them. And then with 2 strikes, he was able to get the bat on the ball.
LSU is now out. Florida State moves to the College World Series. Firefighters battling a brush fire that forced the closure of a huge amusement park in California. Heavy smoke surrounding Six Flags, Magic Mountain, and Hurricane Harbor prompted the park to announce an evacuation. One winning Mega Millions ticket purchased in San Diego for the latest drawing. It's worth $530 million, about $345 million after taxes. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On 7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update now. Here we go.
Minor accident on the eastbound side of the Terry Bradshaw Passway at I-20 East this morning. Be on the lookout for that. If you spot something else, call that Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard Duetta, the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Once again, don't forget the KEEL app, a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Mr. John Perkins is in studio. He is a member, a guiding light, if one will, of the group called Allendale Strong, the leading force, I would say, against the I-49 intercity connector. Mr. John, welcome to KEEL. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so ask him the question. Go ahead. Tell him. No, don't ask him. Tell him. It's all over.
Yeah, tell me.
This was a fight 20 years ago. You've already lost. Give up and move on.
Right. They've lost twice already, and Kent Rogers told me that this is the third time it's been up. It's been shot down twice, and he told the them that this will be the last time he'll consider it. I think he'll consider it as long as there's money from the state to study it, because
now we
$4
have
million has studied it already to
now,
this point.
Now we have $100 million. Now we can go after federal money. The vast majority of local business leaders think this is what is best for our community.
And our local business leaders have led us into the 182nd best place in the nation to look for a job on the recent Wallet Hub. You know, we're here, our leaders' best thinking got us right here where we are, which is last in we're the third largest city in the 50th state in the nation in every category because of this kind of old thinking. Cities I was in Seattle, they're tearing out the Alaskan Thruway. San Francisco, when the Embarcadero fell at the earthquake, the citizens said, don't put it back, it was horrible. And now that area is booming. Most recently, Syracuse has announced they're going to remove their intercity connector. Cities remove them as they age out, like I-20 has. You have to replace it, basically rebuild it. That costs a lot of money. They preferred to remove them.
You want it gone? You want it off the table? Would you prefer a business boulevard? You want the loop it? What's your because now we're hearing the Allendale Strong folks are, well, if it's a business boulevard, that might be okay.
We've been advocating for the business boulevard. Yeah, that would use state, federal money, $70 million by our pro bono experts' estimation. It would create a lovely boulevard.
So how do you get Old Navy to go to Allendale?
We don't really want Old Navy there. We want to be able to live, work, and play next to local businesses. It's about local entrepreneurship and creating an environment where
local businesses are not flocking to Allendale now, John.
Local businesses will flock to Allendale when they get past the racism. This is all an old racist ploy. They called it urban renewal, and this is old urban renewal that's been out of fashion since 1995. You won't find a study that supports this kind of an action since 1995.
But you won't find businesses either that are going to build in Allendale right now.
Well, there's no reason.
Even if this is dead.
There's no reason not to, but whether it's dead or not, there's no reason you can't go in and buy property in Allendale, except it's not for sale at any cost because of the get-rich property prospectors.
So straighten us out. There's a little bit of a conflict between, I guess, what you guys had put on social media about what you were told by Mayor Perkins, as was related to him by DOTD Secretary Wilson, i.e., that the I-49 intercity connector would never be built.
There were 40 to 50 people there, and we gave our presentation that we gave to Sean Wilson when he came to meet with us. And
at that meeting, at that get-together, when the mayor told you that, did the mayor express a position of his own? Did you sense that?
No, he told us what he told us, and Ben Riggs wasn't there, but he did have staff there. He told us that that he called Sean Wilson and asked him before he came to meet with us. We were the first neighborhood association he'd ever met.
Have you asked the mayor his position? Have you guys, when he was there, said, so Mr. Mayor, you going to help us out, or are you?
Yes, and we expressed our concerns about the de facto red line that the business community is drawn around. They said we will not support the community organizations that are helping rebuild. We were rebuilding Allendale at 4 houses at a time.
I mean, I guess my point is that we got an email back from the mayor, Erin did, from Mr. Riggs saying...
He denies saying that Sean Wilson said it would never be built. You heard that come out of his mouth?
Yes, and he didn't deny it. He just dodged it. He just said...
You're right.
Yeah, he just said, hey, this needs more discussion, and it clearly does, or I wouldn't be here today.
John.
But, here's the deal, is a couple of misnomers, misunderstandings, is it'll probably, by the time, as Kent Rogers says, if the money falls out of the sky, it can be completed. We can drive on it in 20 years. Cedric Glover was, along with other folks, was on the search committee for funding in 1992 for 49 north of the city, and we can drive on it beginning late last year. That's how long it takes. The search for funding is the next phase of the process. This $100 million will not go to that highway. We'll get 13 years of payments from BP if BP's still around in 13 years. That'll be about $7.5 $5 million roughly
And yet,
every
the case
year
you've
for
made
13
against the
years.
Intercity Connector this morning, all the evidence you've stated, you said off the air, but we're not winning.
No, we're not winning because there's the business community. Ask your next guest about it. The business community has effectively drawn a red line. They said to Fuller Center,
In other words, they're trying to choke you guys out.
Right. We won't build
Explain to folks who don't know what redlining is, and more specifically, when I said they're trying to choke you guys out, what you mean by that?
Redlining was a racist practice beginning with FDR during FDR's years, and they would literally take a map and draw a red line around it, and the realtors and the insurance people knew this is where we're putting the black people, and that red line meant this is what you get, and you couldn't get insurance, you couldn't buy a house outside of the red line, and it's still a practice. Like you cannot go get a home. These are homeowners. They're ALICE, asset limited, income constrained, employed people. They can't get a home loan to fix the foundation on their homes that they built themselves with sweat equity and the help of others from around the nation who came to build it.
Aaron's chomping at the bit. Hold on.
Go ahead, Erin.
Hang on. Let's go to break. We'll come back more with Mr. John Perkins, Allendale Strong, in just a couple of seconds. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's somebody with traffic.
Minor accident on the eastbound side of the Terry Bradshaw Passway at I-20 East this morning. Be on the lookout for that. If you spot something else, call that Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Monday morning sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU's baseball season ended in gut-wrenching fashion on a 2-out walk-off single in the bottom of the 12th inning and a 5-4 loss to Florida State in Game 2 of the Baton Rouge Super Regional. Devin Fontenot was spectacular in relief for the Tigers, but he surrendered the game-winning hit to Drew Mendoza with 2 outs to send Mike Salvatore home and the Seminoles to Omaha for the College World Series. Fontenot pitched 6 2/3 innings and fanned a career-best 11 to keep the Tigers in the game. Florida State jumped on starter Landon Marceau for 4 runs to take a 4-1 lead, but LSU chipped away before tying things up in the top of the 8th on Zach Watson's 1-out RBI single. Watson was thrown out at second on the play, taking away a potential runners on second and third with 1 out into a runner at third with 2 outs situation. The Tigers started the season as the preseason #1 team in America. They finished 40-26. Florida State's Mike Martin is retiring after 40 years as Florida State's head coach. He has never won a College World Series, but he gets one last chance. Arkansas was pummeled by Ole Miss in Game 2 of their Super Regional, forcing a winner-goes-to-Omaha matchup this afternoon in Fayetteville. The Astros beat the Orioles 4-0. The Rangers lost to Oakland 9-8. Former Minnesota Twin and Boston Red Sox slugger David Ortiz, with 541 career home runs and 3 World Series wins with the Red Sox, was shot in East Santo Domingo yesterday, suffering a gunshot wound to the lower back abdominal region. Ortiz was exiting a club when a gunman approached from a motorcycle, got off the motorcycle, walked up behind Ortiz, and shot him at point-blank range in the back. The suspect was captured and beaten by patrons outside the club. Boston denied St. Louis their first Stanley Cup title with a 5-1 win in Missouri to force Game 7 in Boston on Wednesday. From the Sports Desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Mr. John Perkins from Allendale Strong.
Mr. Passion.
And the anti-I-49 Inner-City Connector organization. So when you started the show, when you started the segment like about 15 minutes ago with Mr. John.
I got a couple things I need to get to.
You said, you've lost. Give up the ghost. You're Davy at the Alamo. Quit swinging the old Betsy.
John.
Have you changed your mind?
Yeah.
John, I haven't been through Allendale in 15 years.
Right.
I'm not going to
come
Allendale.
on through.
No, not interested.
We're
not
meeting
interested.
Thursday night at 6:30 at 1515 Clay Street, right in the path. Come join us.
If this freeway's built, I'll go through Allendale all the time. What's better for Allendale? Me driving through there every now and then, or me never going there?
When you build the highway through there, it'll create a no-go zone. What part of the I-49 South do you love to visit?
I get off all the time and go to businesses there.
Yeah.
When I leave town, I pull off and get gas before I leave town.
So, that's called a interstate exit culture. There's pawn shops and gas stations there. Not much else. It doesn't bring business. We don't want to have big box stores. We want to have small businesses that grow up that are already.
We want anything in Allendale. We would love to have a big gas station.
I know you love Allendale, and that's why you never come through. Please join us at the meeting.
I will.
I guarantee your safety.
I will come.
Robert, you're invited
but
too.
But here's the thing. Folks that have studied this say that if we build that piece of the freeway, it will have an $800 million impact on our community.
It'll cost.
You disagree?
Yeah, it'll cost $800 million to build it. Is what it'll cost. Kent Rogers says it can be completed if the money drops out of the sky. By 2040, we can be driving on it.
But if we loop around the city, we have a mall right there in our city that is struggling. We implemented a sales tax to help that mall. It's still struggling. Why don't we do something like this that is going to help that big business?
Why don't
now we're going around it.
Why don't you call it South Park Mall? Why don't you call 3132 I-49? Right now, that's state and local money that's not there to fix it. That'll bring in federal money. Just hang signs on it that call it 49. I-20 is not interstate standard. Modern I-49 is not. People say someone is in Texarkana right now and has a hankering for meat pies down in Natchitoches. They can drive straight through Shreveport, get their meat pies in Natchitoches, and drive straight back without ever stopping in Shreveport. That's the point, is you separate the to traffic from the through traffic. 3132 passes all of our industrial.
Do our people who are pro I-49 inner-city connector, who are saying the point Erin just made, why, it'll save Mall St. Vincent, are they just living in some sort of fool's paradise when they think that people traveling at 75 miles an hour on their way to Baton Rouge or New Orleans are going to stop and get a slice of Sbarros or whatever?
Of course, and if you haven't heard Malls Are Dead, there's a Facebook page about dead malls, where people go spelunking in them, basically. Malls are over.
Hey, look, a Dillard's. I need shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, does that...
I ordered my shoes. I got shoes right here. I ordered online. People order from Amazon, and that's why Sears went out of business. There was a highway right there.
But,
Sears
John,
is
we
out of
studied this and we planned this 30 years ago. If we would have known we're not going to finish this segment, we would have just pushed this freeway over into Bossier. We would have pushed it over into Hall.
Well, right now, Bossier's excited.
We planned for it, and this was a piece of it.
Your tax dollars at work. They found, NLCOG announced they found $17 million probably lying around in a vault somewhere, and they're going to spend that on building one service road, one, not the two, for I-69 to plant a flag and show Texas we mean business about building I-69 through Bossier. I'm ready to help Low Walker build a highway through Bossier if he thinks it's a great idea. It's not. It's not done. They're removing highways. In Syracuse is now pulling theirs out. They destroy cities. Look what it's done. Look what I-20 did to the area.
One more. Time for one more.
If you are stuck with the intercity connector, it is coming. You must have it. Which route do you choose?
Like I said, hang 49 signs on 3132. That needs repair. You'll bring federal dollars eventually. There's no money in the Fed for this. We've gone from the 80-20 Fed-state split that we grew up with to 80-20 local. 13% of the money to build the Barksdale New Gate is coming from Shreveport, Bossier, Caddo, and Bossier Parish. That's $1 million a year out of our local economy, out of our government, will go to help build that bridge. That's 13% of the total to $90 million to build that. And this isn't a priority. We get $700 million in gasoline taxes every year from our state gasoline tax. We'd have to raise it, according to NLCOG, 54 cents a gallon. 17 cents didn't make it out of committee last year, raised to I'd be for 5 cents a gallon. We need, Sean Wilson told us at Allendale Strong meeting, we need 17, probably 18 billion with a B dollars to fix all the bad. And we need another 17, 18 billion dollars to build all of these, they call them mega projects. You can look it up online. So,
John, we're up against the clock.
Apologies,
but can we do it again?
Yeah, let's do it again, and let's talk about smarter49.com. Smart49.com, and it's got our boulevard plan. We can build that with this money in 3 years and start enjoying it.
John Perkins, Allendale Strong, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's traffic.
Minor accident on the eastbound side of the Terry Bradshaw Passway at I-20 East this morning. Be on the lookout for that. If you spot something else, call that Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. We're Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
of information. KEEL News now.
1 dead, 2 wounded in a shooting in downtown Shreveport happened outside the Royalty Cigar Lounge on Texas Street just before 10:30. Still searching for suspects. Another shooting overnight happened on Lafourche Circle about 1:30 this morning. 2 women shot inside a home. Both are expected to be okay. Single car wreck leaves a man dead. Caddo Sheriff's Office says Calvin Baker died as a result of a crash on I-220 near Lakeshore Drive. Sagging pants to take center stage this week. An ordinance to repeal Shreveport's sagging pants law will be a hot topic at the council meeting work session this afternoon. The meeting and a final vote is expected tomorrow. Major sewer breach in southeast Shreveport. We get details from Matt Parker.
Crews are working feverishly to repair a sewage breach near the intersection of Flournoy Lucas and Highway 1. Waste from the leak was flowing into the Sand Beach Bayou. Officials say the pipe was old and couldn't handle the pressure it was under. All area lift stations are shut down while crews replace the busted line. It's believed the sewage leak has been going on for several weeks. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
1 woman dead, several others hurt in Texas following the collapse of a construction crane. Rescue officials in Dallas say strong winds from a severe storm blew the crane into a building in downtown Dallas. More from Allison Harris.
The scene was chaotic, people being taken into ambulances, taken to the hospital, and then other people getting their pets, bringing them out onto the street. We saw a lot of people with one suitcase. They were taking their belongings, anything that they could get, putting it into a suitcase and evacuating. They're not sure if and when, if at all possible, they'll be able to go back into their apartments. There's insulation in the streets here. Some of the debris from the building that fell out as the building was collapsing.
The storm also caused power outages throughout North Texas. Governor Edwards signs legislation that increases the maximum foster care age from 18 to 21. The Department of Children and Family Services says by expanding the program, it will help many foster care teenagers transition into adulthood. DCFS Secretary Marquetta Garner-Walters says for those that elect to stay in foster care, they can receive various forms of state aid.
We can help them with tuition. We can help them with room and board. We can help them sign leases. We can help them get cars. We can offer so much support.
Previously, the law ended support at age 18. There's another food recall. This time it's frozen berries. Fox's Anna Carrick with the details.
Several grocery chains are recalling frozen berries due to hepatitis A contamination concerns. Kroger, Ralph's, Fry's, Fred Meyer, and others are recalling private selection fruit, including frozen triple berry medley in both 16 and 48-ounce sizes. Frozen blackberries in the 16-ounce size also are included in the recall. Hepatitis A is a contagious liver disease and may cause fatigue, stomach pain, and jaundice. It can last a few weeks or several months, and in rare cases can cause liver failure.
No illnesses have been reported. The FDA discovered the contamination. Former Boston Red Sox player David Ortiz shot in the back in the Dominican Republic. He is expected to make a full recovery. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884.
Lots of great comments.
So you've changed your mind, right?
No.
You still think, to quote Erin McCarty,
Mm-hmm.
to not build, to quote Erin McCarty, to not build the I-49 inner-city connector would be the biggest mistake the city has made in the last 100 years.
Yes, huge mistake. Huge mistake.
Based
Just
on...
think of the traffic that will come through our town. We'll be able to see our downtown. We'll be able to see the things we have to offer.
Why do you think that people traveling on I-49, if that were built at 70 or 75 miles an hour, have the slightest inclination to stop in Shreveport if it's not already part of their plan? I mean, why do you think why do you think they're driving 70
What did Matt do? What did Matt do just 2 weeks ago? He just drove and he's figuring, I'm going to stop at cool places. Correct? Did he not do that?
Do you think 18-wheelers do that?
No, and I'm not
Do you
worried
think
about
people
them.
just get in their car and just go?
But there are 18-wheelers. If you go to our casinos, there are 18-wheelers that stop and go in our casinos all the time.
That's their destination.
No, they're coming through. They realize I got 2 hours to kill because I can't pull up to my site. I'm going to stop at this casino and go gamble for a couple hours.
It's Dillard's. Let's pull over. I'm
It
not
will,
sure.
It will attract some people. You cannot sit there and tell me no one will stop just on a whim. No one will. That's BS.
So if you've got an $800 million road, what's your tipping point of what you have to
Well, I-20, what was the tipping point? Don't you think I-20 is a pretty good idea? Don't you think I-20 was a great idea to run it coast to coast?
Not for Shreveport tourism.
Absolutely for Shreveport tourism. People that come through and see things, they see the Rose Center, they see the casinos.
The interstate highway system was built to, well, first of all, it was a military idea it's about commerce. It's about moving 18-wheelers coast to coast.
To and fro. But you know what? When you go to and fro, you see things that maybe you don't stop this time, but maybe you plan a trip next time and go, you know what? I'm going to go back to the Rose Center. I'm going to go back to the casino and gamble. I'm going to go back and see that Cross Bayou project I saw them building. I'm going to go back into the horse racing track and watch some horse races one day. Those things do happen.
You've got a look on your face.
He thinks I'm right.
I just know when I travel, I have a general idea, and it's not because I saw something on the side of the road. I usually kind of know what I'm looking for and make plans to go there, not
Look,
just...
Shreveport, the world's largest armadillo shell.
But if
Let's
you
pull
saw
over.
something on your trip, maybe this wasn't the trip to take, maybe you go back to see it. Maybe you go back. I mean, people pass that alligator farm between here and Alexandria.
Do we have Mr.
They
Magner?
see the signs.
Do we have Mr. Magner at 8:10 now? It looks like he's going to be in studio at 10 past 8 o'clock.
He decided to come in studio, and so
Awesome.
if he's not here in the next segment, he'll be here at 8:10.
From the Shreveport Chamber, and he is virulently, or I don't know, even that's the right use of the word. He's really, really for the I-49 inner-city
big
connector.
time, yeah.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's traffic.
Minor accident on the eastbound side of the Terry Bradshaw Passway at I-20 East this morning. Be on the lookout for that. If you spot something else, call that Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
Ooh, virulent. Characterized by causing or promoting the rapid onset of severe illness.
We do need to let you know that
I may have misused that word.
Tim Magner with the Chamber of Commerce is at 8:10. He's en route.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be in studio, so we're going to drag him in studio. But we have
101.7
right now,
FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright, and Erin McCarty. No. We got plenty of time.
Okay.
Take a deep breath. I was talking to Matt. Matt's a little hyper this morning.
Yeah.
Mr. James Fleury, Shreveport City Councilman. Hey, Mr. James, welcome to Keel. How you doing?
Good morning.
So, I hear you're not going to support repealing the saggy britches ban. Is that true or not?
That's true.
Tell us why.
Because I have always I'm on my second term, and I had always told from the very first day of representing people in this district that I would always commit to listening to the voice of be the voice for the people. That I would listen, and I was not. I'm not going down there to just do my thing. I'm going down there to represent District E, and I have overwhelmingly received phone calls from folks out here in Southern Hills and my district that said there's no way in the world that they support doing that, and I'm going to honor what I've talked. I've walked door to door. I've got a good sample, and I'm convinced that the people out here do not want it, and they've emailed, text me, and so I'm going to stand true to my word and be the voice of the people.
Just so, Mr. Fleury, you must have concerns then when you see the numbers that show it's really only been enforced against African American young men. Do you have a message to the police department with regard to that?
Well, yes, and if you go back, I talked to one of the authors of that bill, and it was never intended to be enforced like it was. But the problem is we changed chief of police down several times, and that got lost. And if we do away with that, we still got indecent exposure. This is not going to solve the problem, what we're trying to do here. And I'm convinced that it will pass, but I'm going to be true to the people that I represent.
Mr. James, just a little off track here. If you'd care to venture an opinion or a thought, what do you think the original purpose of the law was?
Well, at the time, Joyce Bowman, I felt sure, I can't, just going back and kind of gathering and looking at it, they were hearing from the public, and the council was, folks everywhere in Shreveport were saying we don't want to see this, and so therefore they drafted some legislation to try to fix the problem, and when doing so, they told the police that you're not to go out and zero in on people that with these sagging
Excuse
pants.
me. So your sense is that originally it was a statute based on fashion, not necessarily a statute that was a law enforcement tool.
That's right, and it was never intended to be that.
All right, Mr. Fleury, let me ask you one thing with regard to this. Government telling people how to dress, don't you have a little bit of an issue with that?
Well, yes, I suppose I do, but you know what? I've tried to reason that, and the fact of the matter, we have community standards and our community, and we can't get away from that. People just simply, if I went down to council today and put on one of those, my granddaughter teases, and if you wear a T-shirt, this muscle-looking shirt, white, and if I wore that down there with nothing but that and a baseball cap, I'm sure somebody would say that I was trying to be like a redneck. And so we take this fashion stuff and try to attach something to it. And I understand that the numbers, the math, when I look at the math, we have 59% of African Americans now that are in majority. We have 4 city councilmen, African Americans, that are, the council is majority. I'm in the minority. But when I look at what the people tell me out here that they want, and I've heard from all races, so I'm going to honor them and go down there and represent. Not something that I want.
Are you the lone wolf during the vote tomorrow?
I'm
you think?
the lone wolf.
Okay.
I'm the lone wolf, and I'm sure I'll take speed on it. But I'm going to tell you what, people, when I finish up this 3.5 year on my, people will look back and say he did listen.
Gotcha.
When they spoke to me about the $40 million basketball sports complex thing, Willie Bradford and I voted no from the very beginning because we heard from our constituents. I mean, overwhelmingly.
Right.
When they introduced that, which in fact we found out later we didn't even have to vote, but we were a no vote from the word go. And
Mr.
I told
Fleur?
Mayor Tyler, I cannot vote for it. The people out here have absolutely said no. And so when we did that and we came up for a vote, everybody, the other councilmen joined us, and it was overwhelming no vote.
James
So
Fleury.
sometimes you have to be, you have to listen if you're going to be representing the people.
James Fleury, Shreveport City Council. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
1017 FM, 710 Keel Sports just ahead. Here's traffic.
Minor accident on the eastbound side of the Terry Bradshaw Passway at I-20 East this morning. Be on the lookout for that. If you spot something else, call that Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-7623.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
.17 FM, 710 Keel Sports Update. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU's baseball season ended in gut-wrenching fashion on a 2-out walk-off single in the bottom of the 12th inning and a 5-4 loss to Florida State in Game 2 of the Baton Rouge Super Regional. Devin Fontenot was spectacular in relief for the Tigers, but he surrendered the game-winning hit to Drew Mendoza with 2 outs to send Mike Salvatore home and the Seminoles to Omaha for the College World Series. Fontenot pitched 6 2/3 innings and fanned a career-best 11 to keep the Tigers in the game. Florida State jumped on starter Landon Marceau for 4 runs to take a 4-1 lead, but LSU chipped away before tying things up in the top of the 8th on Zach Watson's 1-out RBI single. Watson was thrown out at second on the play, taking away a potential runners on second and third with 1 out into a runner at third with 2-out situation. The Tigers started the season as the preseason #1 team in America. They finished 40-26. Florida State's Mike Martin is retiring after 40 years as Florida State's head coach. He has never won a College World Series, but he gets one last chance. Arkansas was pummeled by Ole Miss in Game 2 of their Super Regional, forcing a winner-goes-to-Omaha matchup this afternoon in Fayetteville. The Astros beat the Orioles 4-0. The Rangers lost to Oakland 9-8. Former Minnesota Twin and Boston Red Sox slugger David Ortiz, with 541 career home runs and 3 World Series wins with the Red Sox, was shot in East Santo Domingo yesterday, suffering a gunshot wound to the lower back abdominal region. Ortiz was exiting a club when a gunman approached from a motorcycle, got off the motorcycle, walked up behind Ortiz, and shot him at point-blank range in the back. The suspect was captured and beaten by patrons outside the club. Boston denied St. Louis their first Stanley Cup title with a 5-1 win in Missouri to force Game 7 in Boston on Wednesday. From the Sports Desk, 11:30 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.107 FM 710 Keel. Did you see the brain-eating amoeba has been found in Louisiana once again?
No.
Google
Where?
it. Terrebonne Parish, I believe.
Okay, that's Homa Thibodeau.
Look
or
and
as
see.
people that don't know, Homa Thibodux. I've heard people call it Homa Thibodux.
Eating amoeba.
Amoeba. You know, I'm not good with the Google.
It's
Let's
Amoeba
see.
Parish. It's just down
It's
south
not Amoeba
of
Parish.
down south of Plaquemine.
Oh, Lord. I don't see it. But anyway.
Saw it last night.
Oh, man. That's not good.
Mm.
So they got to go through all that
I have
stuff that we went through?
I have no idea. Bossier,
Yeah.
it's sort of been on news-wise. It's been on the back burner in Bossier Parish for a while, but I don't know what the status.
Supposedly they've got it all cleaned up.
Yeah.
It's returned Nigleri fowleri.
I'm sorry, how do you say that again?
Nigleri fowleri.
Obviously, you spent time in seminary in the 50s. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Mr. Tim Magnus, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce, pro I-49 Intercity Connector coming up just after 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, here's Hannity.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Donald Trump committed no crime. So for Nancy Pelosi, lock him up is not the same as Hillary, who did commit crimes, in spite of the bizarre conspiracy theories that have been told daily now for over 2 years. The evidence in Hillary's case is overwhelming and incontrovertible. Hillary Clinton committed multiple felonies by putting classified and top secret information on a private server stored in a bathroom closet. Read the law, 18 U.S.C. 793, the Espionage Act. That was her underlying crime, because even James Comey admitted top secret classified information was on that private server. That is illegal. Those are all felonies.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
You know, I remember smoking was socially acceptable. Everybody pretty much was doing it. People smoked in malls and restaurants, even on airplanes. Now you get a lot of disapproving looks, especially from loved ones. So after many years of me smoking, I finally made the switch to Juul. Now there's no more worrying about the way my clothes smell or worrying about what people are going to say, because with Juul, everything is so much easier. Juul is a vaporizer that contains nicotine for a satisfying transition. Now, Juul was designed by smokers for smokers to be an alternative to cigarettes. Juul has no cigarette ash, zero odor, no mess. So if you're one of the 34 million adults in America that smoke, well, know that there is an alternative to cigarettes. Just go to Juul.com/SwitchAmerica. That's JUUL.com/SwitchAmerica. And warning, this product does contain nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Smooth sailing through the streets of Shreveport Bossier right now, but you might have seen something that's holding things up. If you did, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. We're treated wet again, the Weather Channel.
Rush Limbaugh, the authority for all things right. Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Just after 8 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin's got local news, just a couple of seconds. What's up, kiddo?
We're going to be busting a sag coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll have that in the news. More violence in our community. 1 dead, 2 wounded in a shooting downtown Shreveport. We'll have that coming up, too. And the death penalty. A lot of folks still want to do away with it.
Tim Magner, President, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce, in studio. So is this I-49 Intercity Connector thing, is it the economic salvation for a region? He will clarify his stance and those of many in the community. Fletcher Sports, traffic and weather, it's all coming up this hour. It's right here, coming up on KEEL.
This latest...
Colorado LT, Texas. Report. Now on 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
One dead, 2 wounded in a shooting in downtown Shreveport happened outside the Royalty Cigar Lounge on Texas Street just before 10:30. Still searching for suspects. Another shooting overnight happened on Lafourche Circle about 1:30 this morning. 2 women shot inside a home. Both are expected to be okay. Sagging pants to take center stage at this week's council meeting. We get more from Matt Parker.
An ordinance to repeal Shreveport's sagging pants law will be a hot topic at this week's city council meetings. Councilwoman Livette Fuller is pushing the repeal, saying that government shouldn't tell people how they should dress. Many for keeping the law on the books say that it helps create a standard for the city. The topic is expected to be a major part of today's work session before going up for a final vote tomorrow. For 1017 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Crews working feverishly to repair a sewage breach near the intersection of Flournoy Lucas and Highway 1. Waste from the leak was flowing into the Sand Beach Bayou. Officials say the pipe was old and couldn't handle the pressure it was under. All area lift stations are shut down while crews replace the busted pipe. It's believed the sewage leak has been going on for several weeks. Single-car wreck leaves a man dead. According to Caddo deputies, Calvin Baker died as a result of the crash on I-220 near Lakeshore Drive. A proposal to abolish the death penalty failed to pass this year in Baton Rouge, but proponents are more optimistic about its chances going forward, citing the progress it made this year. New Iberia Representative Terry Landry says his bill got further this year than ever before, proof that legislative opinion may be shifting.
I think we got a lot of traction. For the first time in 3 years, we were able to get it out of the committee and get it on the floor. And what we accomplished, and my expectations initially were just to start the conversation.
Louisiana has not carried out an execution since 2010. What's next on the proposed Cross Bayou plan? Signed contracts with government entities. That's the message from Larry English with GDC. The group will need help for infrastructure from the city and the parish.
So I would ask the city to be a little bit patient to so that we can understand, and the final numbers on what this project is, they're yet to be negotiated with the city to parish.
The project has grown from $1 billion to $1.5 billion and now includes a judicial component in the form of a new parish courthouse. Crane collapse in Dallas kills 1, several others hurt. A series of thunderstorms caused a crane to fall into an apartment complex in downtown Dallas. The accident left 1 person dead. At least 7 others were hurt. According to the National Weather Service, winds reached upwards of 80 miles an hour, causing severe damage around the city. Gas prices down 9 cents over the past 3 weeks. The average price of a gallon of regular is now $2.84. Trilby Lundberg talks about the prices in different cities.
The high in the panel of cities was San Francisco, $3.94. The low was Baton Rouge at $2.27.
Lundberg says most of the drop came from lower crude oil prices, but weak demand, partly stemming from recent flooding in the U.S. and partly from a less than robust May jobs report. Kroger recalling frozen berries because of possible hepatitis A contamination. It's the private selection varieties. A man gets so upset with his wife's Alexa device that he shoots it, but this Florida story didn't end there. The man ends up in a shootout with police, wounding 2 officers. He himself was also shot. I'm Erin McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update right now.
Smooth sailing through the streets of Shreveport Bossier right now, but you might have seen something that's holding things up. If you did, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel. .1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Keel app is always a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Mr. Tim Magner is the president of the Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Tim, welcome to Keel. Thank you for coming in person. That was pretty awesome.
No worries. Glad to be here.
It's how the world works sometimes.
Yeah.
We appreciate your effort.
No worries.
The Intercity Connector, you are adamantly in support of it.
Yes.
You disagree with John Perkins, who was on last hour, some of his concerns. What are the biggest flaws and faults in his argument that it's going to do harm?
Well, first of all, I think it's disappointing that he focuses so much on racism and uses that really as a screen for his argument. So let me start with that, because that's not the case. It's not where we're focused on as a community. We're focused on growing and building this community, everybody in this community. So secondly, where we're looking in Allendale, it's an area of the city that for the most part, if you look at the maps, there is not a lot of development there. It is an area that the Route 1 that goes through, yes, it disrupts some folks, but in terms of the overall impact, we're talking $800 million impact to our community through this 3.5 mile
Pardon me,
stretch.
what does that mean? Break that down for me. $800 million impact.
So what it means is that, and according to the study that they did in 2016, after about 4 years, that's the impact that the community will have. When you think about it, that 3.5 mile segment links north and south. So it links Texarkana with Lafayette and Shreveport. It allows truck traffic. It allows us to be a much more aggressive distribution center. It allows us to bring folks here to town. I mean, I-49 North now goes all the way up through Vivian and all the way up to Texarkana. There's huge growth opportunity for the development similar to what you saw in North Bossier.
When you go and sell a community to businesses that want to come here, big companies,
sure,
and you can show them we have two interstates intersecting. One goes east-west, one goes north-south. Isn't that a must for a lot of these people? We got to be able to get in and out in all directions.
It really is huge, and that's the other thing that I'll say about John's point. He says you put a sign on 3132 and it's done. No, when you look at the kind of truck traffic that we're talking about that is happening, I don't know if you've been on Spring Street lately, I don't know if you've been on I-49 lately, but those are not designed to handle that level of truck traffic. We want people to go to and through, as John said. We want the trucks to go through, and that's the shortest route. They're going to go the shortest route. And the impact that will have on access to the port, as well as access to I-20, when the intercity connector is finished, you'll be able to link I-10, I-20, and I-30 with a single road. That's going to be huge.
In a nutshell, what you're saying is this intercity connector would allow, let me rephrase it, if 3 miles of road, 3.9 miles of road in your mind would suddenly be the be-all and end-all for to rejuvenate Shreveport, when just going around it right now doesn't. Why is that such a big difference?
Well, it's a huge difference. I mean, I don't think it's the be-all and end-all, but I think it is a huge link between the north and south routes, because when a study was done, when you look at the 14 miles versus 3.5 miles, the cost in gas, the CO2, all of that is significant over time. And so what this does is it makes it easy. You and I both know when you drive, you want easy, you want direct.
Correct me if I'm jumping the gun here, but it seems to me like what you're saying is, well, there's a lot of people who would do business here, but they're looking at Shreveport and going, well, if they only had 3.9 miles of road, we'd build our business there.
I think for some folks that is true. I think when you look at the available access to the airports, to the port, to 20, 49, you can link 30, 20, and 10. You now have a north-south route that when Sasol comes online, for example, down in with LNG, you're going to see a lot of increased development, increased desire to be able to use that road. And frankly, the 3132 cannot support the kind of truck traffic around the city.
Tim, when you hear our mayor say, and I'm quoting, there are a couple of options available, and these routes need to be carefully considered, which means there needs to be more discussion and community engagement. Haven't we done all that already?
We have. We've had 25 meetings over the past 10 years or so, and what we've found is that 96% of the people in those meetings who came to those meetings, who turned out, said we want Route 1 through the city. When you look at the cost differential between the 3 miles versus 14 miles, replacing the bridge over I-220 alone will cost what it would cost, assuming you could even get the environmentals done. It would cost what it would cost to build the 3.5 mile intercity connector.
So to do the loop-it approach that they suggest, you must build more lanes to cross Lake Bridge, correct?
Correct. You have to either replace it or you have to build another one. And you have to expand 3132, and you have to upgrade it.
What's the problem with it now?
It's not built to interstate standards. When you look at the substrate that's underneath that, it's designed for cars. It's not designed for trucks. You want to look at an example of what happens
for commercial traffic.
When you go to 3276 down in DeSoto, and you see that road that links 49 to 171 down there. It's all pitted and stuff because that was designed for about 5 trucks a day, and now it's got 200 trucks a day, and they're going to ultimately have to replace that road. That's what's going to happen to 3132 if we keep saying we're just pushing all of our truck traffic onto that. Plus Spring Street. Look at what that does.
You can hang on a little bit, right, for another segment, I would hope. Mr. Tim Magner, who is the president, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. More is on the way. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic update now.
Smooth sailing through the streets of Shreveport Bossier right now, but you might have seen something that's holding things up. If you did, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU's baseball season ended in gut-wrenching fashion on a 2-out walk-off single in the bottom of the 12th inning and a 5-4 loss to Florida State in Game 2 of the Baton Rouge Super Regional. Devin Fontenot was spectacular in relief for the Tigers, but he surrendered the game-winning hit to Drew Mendoza with 2 outs to send Mike Salvatore home and the Seminoles to Omaha for the College World Series. Fontenot pitched 6 2/3 innings and fanned a career-best 11 to keep the Tigers in the game. Florida State jumped on starter Landon Marceau for 4 runs to take a 4-1 lead, but LSU chipped away before tying things up in the top of the 8th on Zach Watson's 1-out RBI single. Watson was thrown out at second on the play, taking away a potential runners on second and third with 1 out into a runner at third with 2 out situation. The Tigers started the season as the preseason #1 team in America. They finished 40-26. Florida State's Mike Martin is retiring after 40 years as Florida State's head coach. He has never won a College World Series, but he gets one last chance. Arkansas was pummeled by Ole Miss in Game 2 of their Super Regional, forcing a winner-goes-to-Omaha matchup this afternoon in Fayetteville. The Astros beat the Orioles 4-0. The Rangers lost to Oakland 9-8. Former Minnesota Twin and Boston Red Sox slugger David Ortiz, with 541 career home runs and 3 World Series wins with the Red Sox, was shot in East Santo Domingo yesterday, suffering a gunshot wound to the lower back abdominal region. Ortiz was exiting a club when a gunman approached from a motorcycle, got off the motorcycle, walked up behind Ortiz, and shot him at point-blank range in the back. The suspect was captured and beaten by patrons outside the club. Boston denied St. Louis their first Stanley Cup title with a 5-1 win in Missouri to force Game 7 in Boston on Wednesday. From the Sports Desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Jack Spring Electric Shockbuster Button, untouched but always ready. Mr. Tim Magner, President, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. Okay, your pro I-49 intercity connector, 3.9 miles connecting north and south.
Yep.
Let's assume for the moment that tomorrow, Allendale Strong says, "Oh my God, we've had it wrong. We give up. We surrender. We are for the intercity connector." And all of a sudden, all the money, no matter what amount it was, fell into our laps. And we could break ground by Friday. What's the target date for opening? Like 2050, 2040?
No, I mean, for 3 miles, you're probably looking at somewhere between 4 to 5 years. In order, I mean, and that's a conservative estimate, I would think, given that the level. I mean, look at how long it took them to do the
So
the
basically,
I-220
if all
interchange.
things fell into place, we could do 2025, 2026.
Yes.
There are concerns, Tim, about historic churches, civil rights grounds there, Civil War grounds there. What has been done to make sure that we're taking care of historic places?
So there is something called the State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO, and that's actually where the document is right now. It's under review. So there's a 4-inch binder of data that's environmental, that's historical. They've looked at all of those things to try and determine the route that does the least impact, both environmentally as well as historically. So the State Historical Office is looking at that, making sure they check off everything that needs to be in place in order to make that happen.
Let's talk about the funding, because there are folks that say the $100 million is just a drop in the bucket, that the federal government's not going to give us the rest. Where is the match? Some are saying the feds pay 80%. John Perkins says that's not the case anymore. Where are we on where the rest of the money will come from?
Well, again, what John was talking about was the proposal from the Trump administration last year in 2018 or 2017 was to flip it. That was the president's original $1 trillion infrastructure plan. He was going to have 20% be paid by the federal government, 80% paid locally. That's not that was a non-starter. That was dead on arrival. So we're back more toward the 80-20 situation, where the federal government picks up 80% and the locals pick up 20%. John mentioned the 13% that the localities are paying for the I-220 gate. So that means the feds are picking up, or in the state are picking up 87%. Mm-hmm. So, there is some balance here in terms of the investment that needs to be made. I think what you're seeing in Washington is infrastructure is one of the few things you can get bipartisan agreement on, at least until recently. And I think that will come back again. And whether it's $1 trillion, whether it's $2 trillion, there will be dollars there. And that's why I think this legislation is so important, because what it does is it puts Louisiana at the table, not only for our projects, but for projects down south as well. But it allows us to get in the match game the way we weren't before.
Is there a point to be made that we've got this $100 million for interstate roads? Is there a point to be made that we might be better served by using that $100 million instead of doing the intercity connector, using it to maybe upgrade I-20 or to do maintenance on our currently existing interstate infrastructure?
Well, so the money's earmarked. The money is earmarked for this purpose, for I-49. I mean, that when you look at the bill itself, there are projects that were
in Louisiana. That doesn't mean much.
Well, but again, I think it has to mean something. And I think when you look at where the dollars are laid out right now, the legislature and our local delegation unanimously agreed that this was the project that they wanted in that bill. And so I think what you're seeing is that a priority has been, a marker's been laid down, a priority's been set for this I-49 project. The legislature went along with it. The governor signed it.
Everything you see, well, both sides right now, for X amount of time, going back, as you said, 25 years, just seem to be at loggerheads over the whole thing. Is there compromise? What's going to tip the decision, the argument, the war, one way or the other? Because for 2+ decades, nothing has.
Well, but so first of all, I think you have to look at the balance of agreement here, right? 96% of the people who participated in the 25 different public meetings and charrettes and everything like that said Route 1 through the city. You have a small group of people, many of whom don't live in Allendale, who are very vocal in opposition. That seems hardly like a balance.
Then why? What's keeping it from happening?
Well, the process
for a long time.
The process is moving on. It takes a long time to do this, precisely as Erin was saying, because we want to make sure that it's well studied, well vetted, that you're not making a mistake about, and from an environmental standpoint, you're not doing violence to a particularly pristine historic site. So this does take time to do and to do right. So we're in process. The last set of documents right now are in front of the SHPO office, the state office of state historic preservation office. From there, it goes to federal highways. We expect sometime late this year or early next year there'll be a record of decision, which is the federal government saying, "Yep, there's your green light. You can go." And now that we have match dollars, because we have the $100 million that's available, we now have the capacity to move forward.
What can we do individually? If we support this, what can we do to move it along? Are there some people we can light a fire under, or is it just part of the deal? You just got to let it run its course.
So a couple people I think it would be important to reach out to. Congressman Johnson, he's been very supportive, letting him know, hey, I'm in the community. I really support this. That helps give him the additional, air cover that he needs to get in touch with federal highways or to get in touch with the Department of Transportation. Again, he's been very supportive, but hearing from him, letting your local delegation know that you appreciate, Representative Bagley, Senator Tarver, Senator Peacock were very instrumental in getting these dollars put in place, letting them know and say thank you. Thank the delegation. The entire delegation came together. When was the last time we could sit here and say that the entire delegation across the river, across the aisle, across the houses came together and supported something in our region? This is a huge win for us as a community, because we have come together in support of something that's going to have a huge economic impact for us. The process is moving along, and we need to keep moving it.
With all due respect, you did leave Representative Glover off that list. He is one of those adamantly against. When you were listing, you said, when's the last time we all came together? In all fairness, it's not everybody.
Well, but he voted for the legislation. So, I mean, again, I think where we are with this is that we have a community consensus. There are always going to be outliers, but we have a community consensus that this is important for us, this is important for our future, and that this is the route we need to take.
Tim Magner, Chamber of Commerce, Shreveport. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Local news next. Here's traffic.
Smooth sailing through the streets of Shreveport Bossier right now, but you might have seen something that's holding things up. If you did, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
Of information. KEEL News now.
1 dead, 2 wounded in a shooting in downtown Shreveport happened outside the Royalty Cigar Lounge on Texas Street just before 10:30. Still searching for suspects. Another shooting overnight happened on Lafourche Circle about 1:30 this morning. 2 women shot inside a home. Both are expected to be okay. Single car wreck leaves a man dead. The Caddo Sheriff's Office says Calvin Baker died as a result of a crash on I-220 near Lakeshore Drive. Sagging pants to take center stage this week. An ordinance to repeal Shreveport's sagging pants law will be a hot topic at the council meeting work session this afternoon. The meeting and a final vote is expected tomorrow. Major sewer breach in southeast Shreveport. We get details from Matt Parker.
Crews are working feverishly to repair a sewage breach near the intersection of Flournoy Lucas and Highway 1. Waste from the leak was flowing into the Sand Beach Bayou. Officials say the pipe was old and couldn't handle the pressure it was under. All area lift stations are shut down while crews replace the busted line. It's believed the sewage leak has been going on for several weeks. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
1 woman dead, several others hurt in Texas following the collapse of a construction crane. Rescue officials in Dallas say strong winds from a severe storm blew the crane into a building in downtown Dallas. More from Allison Harris.
The scene was chaotic, people being taken into ambulances, taken to the hospital, and then other people getting their pets, bringing them out onto the street. We saw a lot of people with one suitcase. They were taking their belongings, anything that they could get, putting it into a suitcase and evacuating. They're not sure if and when, if at all possible, they'll be able to go back into their apartments. There's insulation in the streets here. Some of the debris from the building that fell out as the building was collapsing.
The storm also caused power outages throughout North Texas. Governor Edwards signs legislation that increases the maximum foster care age from 18 to 21. The Department of Children and Family Services says by expanding the program, it will help many foster care teenagers transition into adulthood. DCFS Secretary Marquetta Garner Walters says for those that elect to stay in foster care, they can receive various forms of state aid.
We can help them with tuition. We can help them with room and board. We can help them sign leases. We can help them get cars. We can offer so much support.
Previously, the law ended support at age 18. There's another food recall. This time it's frozen berries. Fox's Anna Carrick with the details.
Several grocery chains are recalling frozen berries due to hepatitis A contamination concerns. Kroger, Ralph's, Fry's, Fred Meyer, and others are recalling private selection fruit, including frozen triple berry medley in both 16 and 48-ounce sizes. Frozen blackberries in the 16-ounce size also are included in the recall. Hepatitis A is a contagious liver disease and may cause fatigue, stomach pain, and jaundice. It can last a few weeks or several months, and in rare cases can cause liver failure.
No illnesses have been reported. The FDA discovered the contamination. Former Boston Red Sox player David Ortiz shot in the back in the Dominican Republic. He is expected to make a full recovery. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. What a fascinating morning this has been.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all, I hope I'm not like stepping on your toes here or breaching some sort of confidence. The I'm going to New York in less than 3 weeks makeover begins today.
Yeah, I get a new do today.
Get new hair.
Going over to Avalon, and Grace Ann gonna hook me up.
Yeah.
And did my nails this weekend. I'm just kind of getting it started.
Transformation into Erin McCarty Award winner.
Yeah, I'll have new hair tomorrow. So if you want to see my hair down and all dolled up, you can tune in tomorrow. You'll see it. So I'm not putting on any makeup or anything tomorrow.
You know, wear your headphones like in front of your face.
I might have to do something crazy with them. You know, wear them just down here and turn them way up or something.
Like a football face mask or something.
I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll figure something out, but I'm looking forward to it.
Big day today for the Shreveport City Council. A work session today. The voting tomorrow on the repeal of the Saggy Pants Ordinance. A little more detail and a little bit of. If you missed we're not going to replay Mr. James Fleury, city councilman, but he said, I'm probably going to be the only one.
Lone wolf, yeah.
That votes to not repeal. We will discuss when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, traffic time.
Smooth sailing through the streets of Shreveport Bossier right now, but you might have seen something that's holding things up. If you did, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687 ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
Hand me down my walking cane, hand me down my hat.
Okay.
Opening line of that song. 1017, I'm serious. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Somebody told me this weekend it would suit my image if I had a cane, a walking stick. I said, can I put a flask in the handle? Seemed like a good idea. So, later today, working session, Shreveport City Council is let's cover this first. Is the saggy pants thing that they will discuss the repeal of today and vote on tomorrow? Is this just sort of the fireworks? Is this sort of is there more important stuff they're going to be covering today and tomorrow that is sort of not getting the press because it's not as sexy as saggy pants?
I haven't looked at the agenda. But there may be a measure on there about limiting the mayor's ability to sign contracts. I'm not sure if that's on the agenda or not. I'd have to check.
Still fighting over that. Somebody asked me about the insurance.
I think so.
Somebody asked me about the insurance stuff this weekend. I said, for this year, it's done.
Yeah.
I said, Adrian won. Mm-hmm. Everybody else lost.
I don't. The focus of today's meeting and tomorrow, because they had a big community gathering this weekend where they went door to door urging people to attend the meetings.
Who is they? The pro or the con?
They want this
the
repeal.
People.
Yeah. The other side is not vocal.
Let me ask you. It's right now it's 6-1. Why? It's all but a done deal. Why do they need 100,000 people to show up and go, saggy pants is racist? What difference does it make? I mean, it may or may not be. We can argue that in a couple of seconds if we are inclined. I think we already have. Mm-hmm. But the point I'm making is this. Right now, the head count is like 6-1. What difference does it make if you're – it's not up – it's not the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl and the score's not tied.
No. So they'll – but there will be a lot of people at the meeting, that are going to want to get up and give their 3 minutes.
My point is why? Mm-hmm. They've already won.
They want to be heard. They want to be heard. I think they want to talk to the police department, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't understand why you would drag a meeting out longer.
Dear City Council
when you're
going
to win anyway.
And all the local activists, if you will, who were in fact going door to door, urging people to crowd into the City Hall Council the chambers today and give your 2 cents. Remember, the more people talk, the longer it's going to take.
Yeah.
I don't see the logic of that.
Right.
Right now, the head count is, I guess, 6-1.
Yeah, it's probably going to be 6-1. I would assume the vote tomorrow.
And they're going to debate today, but what's the debate?
And they'll have more people show up tomorrow, too. It gets people involved in government. I guess that's a good thing when they show up at City Hall.
Yeah.
It's good to let folks see how government works and how city government operates. Let's just have some decorum. I don't want people hauled out by the cops and, go through all that mess again. Let's be polite and civil about it. I would hope that. Because I don't like all that nonsense where you have to get the police officers and dragging people out.
I asked you last time, and it's a question that goes back in my mind a couple of months, a month or so when this first sort of came to city consciousness. What has changed in the community overall that 12 years ago made this such a great idea, and now it's not? Other than you've got a whole bunch of new city council people.
Well, you have the numbers been revealed. The numbers have been revealed about how many people have been cited.
I say to you once again.
And who they were.
I say to you once again, anyone who, when they first passed this legislation, Saggy Pants Law, a dozen years ago, anyone who did not know that it was going to target African-American men I don't think they're being truthful.
Yeah.
You had to know. I will maintain that the purpose was to target young African-American men, not en masse, but the ones that the police knew and the politicians knew were in fact the troublemakers, that it gave the police a chance to have an increased and more conspicuous and visible presence among the guys that they knew that were in fact the problem, the troublemakers.
Right.
So anybody that says, can you believe that a Saggy Pants Law profiles African-American men? Well, Sherlock.
Right.
You had to know that. And anybody.
Does this tool, taking this tool out of the police department's toolbox, does it really hurt them?
As a policeman said to me earlier this morning via text, we know who the bad guys are. How we feel about this, I'm paraphrasing, and I apologize for not having it in front of me. The point is, we know who the bad guys are. This really doesn't matter one way or the other. If we want to lean on you, my words, not theirs, we can.
We messed up earlier today. Do you know what we did?
What did you do?
We forgot to talk to John Perkins about something. I'm a butt sniffer. Because he's the one who called me a butt sniffer.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask him about it.
Yeah.
Why'd he call me a butt sniffer? We forgot to ask him.
Of all the things that I felt compelled to cover.
I wanted to know why I'm a butt sniffer.
Of all the things, you know what? You got his phone number. Shoot him a text.
Ask him.
Yeah. I'm being sexually harassed by Erin McCarty.
Oh, boy.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Your money now. Barksdale Federal Credit Union just a couple of seconds away. Meantime, here's traffic.
Smooth sailing through the streets of Shreveport Bossier right now, but you might have seen something that's holding things up. If you did, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. We're treated wet again, the Weather Channel.
Now you can listen to Keel with your Alexa device at home. 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
One of the last actions of the Louisiana legislature was to move back the 2020 primary from March 7th to April 4th of next year, a full month behind its originally scheduled date.
Most other states are moving their primary dates up in order to increase their clout. California, Texas, North Carolina, Alabama, just to name a few. But others say it doesn't matter when the primary election is because much of the thinning down of the field, at least on the Democrat side, will happen this year in 2019, well before a caucus or primary, and will be based more on polling and donor activity than on campaigning.
Because of the move, 14 other states will now vote before Louisiana, including states like Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin. Okay, so we didn't have time to get to the whole story this morning, and we will tomorrow morning, I promise. We just had a lot of guests.
Right.
So you had a homeless interlude this weekend.
Yeah.
An interaction with a homeless person.
Yeah, I was coming out of a local business.
Guilty. Well, go ahead. We got
coming out of a local business, and there's nobody there. It was early in the morning, and there's a man sitting on a bench.
Like 7 a.m. or something like that?
Yeah, it was early. And he starts walking toward me. And he says, ma'am. And I looked, and he's still coming. And I got in my mean mom voice. I said, stop. Don't come any closer because you're frightening me. And he stopped, and then he started muttering about, can you spare some gas money or like that? I said, no, I can't help you today. Sorry. And I went about my business.
So what makes you feel worse that you said
awful?
What makes you feel worse that you said stop right there, or that you didn't? I can't help you today.
No, I'm now committed to not helping because I've been convinced by the people with the homeless coalitions that you can't do that. You have to give to agencies that help them because otherwise they're gonna. Often they will use the money wrong by drinking or doing whatever they don't.
Maybe he just wanted $2 for a
and
hamburger.
It could have been, and I think that too all the time.
But if he wanted it that bad, he would have followed your rules. Do you think of it that way?
Yeah, and he did stop, and he he didn't come any closer.
Did you feel legitimately threatened?
I did. I felt.
Then
well,
to
it was just me and him.
circle around yourself, as it were.
Yeah. But I felt bad about myself after I got in the car, and I thought, you have a few bucks. You could have given him a few bucks. But for me, that meant he had to get closer into my circle. I had to dig into my purse and hand him money. I'm like, that's not going to happen when there's nobody around in case this goes wrong. I'm just not going to let that happen. I'm not going to put myself in that position.
So you feel guilty about keeping yourself safe?
Yeah, the way you put it sounds silly, I know. But my first inclination is always to help.
We got to go. Back tomorrow morning, 6 to 9. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Kim Commando time.
There's an app for everything, including the thing we want most, a good night's sleep. There's just one problem. Kim Commando with your Monday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by SimpliSafe, the best security system for your home, period. Don't live in fear. Get yours at simplysafekim.com. Here's the problem. Sleep apps may actually be keeping you awake. England's Guardian newspaper reports that sleep apps often make us feel anxious and we obsess about our sleep. So much so that sleep app users are developing full-blown insomnia. The same concerns were discovered in cases published last year by a team of doctors in Chicago. They say that patients' use of sleep apps often lead to a disorder they call orthosomnia, meaning you're so anxious about getting a good night's rest that the anxiety actually keeps you awake. And since everyone sleeps so differently, if a tracker says you haven't had the right amount of sleep, you're probably going to sit there and worry. And guess what? Lose sleep. I'm Kim Commando. Here's something interesting. Studies show that security systems deter burglars. It's a fact, but there's still a burglary every 8 seconds in America. How? Well, think about it. Burglars just don't give up because some houses have security systems. They just find a house that isn't protected. That's why I recommend this brilliant security system made by my friends at SimpliSafe. SimpliSafe believes fear has no place in your home, so they made their system ridiculously smart. If a burglar even tries to break in, an ear-shattering siren will let them know the police are already on the way. Best of all, SimpliSafe's 24/7 monitoring is just $14.99 a month, and they'll never lock you into a long-term contract. No contracts, no middlemen. Go with the only home security I trust, SimpliSafe. Go to simplysafekim.com today. Get free shipping, free returns, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's simplysafekim.com for the home security I trust. simplysafekim.com.
Smooth sailing through the streets of Shreveport Bossier right now, but you might have seen something that's holding things up. If you did, call the Planet Fitness traffic hotline so we can get the word out. 687-ROAD.
High pressure back in eastern New Mexico. Our controlling weather feature will keep fine weather in the forecast through the week ahead. Sunshine here today at 87. A few clouds tonight, low 63. Clouds continue into the day tomorrow, 82. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, high 87. More of the same Thursday. Richard DeWetta, Get the Weather Channel.
Erin just told Matt to stay out of her safe space. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, 77 degrees right now. Moon Griffon on the way after Fox News.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.